Have you ever walked into your local corner store and really wondered how it all works? I mean, it seems so simple from the outside, doesn't it? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a small, family-run shop and show you the surprisingly complex and often chaotic reality that's happening just behind the counter. So, meet the main characters in our story today: a cash register, a card terminal, and a lottery machine. You've seen these 1,000 times. They are the absolute workhorses for countless small businesses. But, as we're about to find out, they are also the source of a huge, hidden headache.
So what does it really take to keep those shelves stocked and the doors open? You might think it's just about buying low and selling high, but the truth is, it's a daily battle against inefficiency. A battle fought with scraps of paper, human memory, and a whole lot of patience.
All right, so let's set the scene. Our story takes place at Depanneur Chez Jeannot, a classic neighborhood convenience store. It's run by Michel, the owner. And like so many small business owners out there, Michel depends on just a few key pieces of tech to make it through the day. On the surface, the business is super straightforward, right? Selling the stuff people want, using the tools we all recognize. But here's the catch, the big challenge. None of these machines actually talk to each other. Every single sale, every piece of data, it all lives in its own little isolated world.
And this image just says it all, doesn't it? This is the core of the problem. The cash register, it prints its own paper reports. The card terminal, it spits out a completely separate stock of paper slips. And the lottery machine has its own little world, its own log. There's no data link between them, which means every single day is a manual, painstaking effort to try and stitch these three different stories together.
So what does this manual maze actually look like day to day? What does it feel like? Well, let's walk through a typical day at the Depanneur and really see how this disconnected system creates this constant, low-level chaos.
Okay, picture this. A customer wants to buy some beer, a bag of chips, and a lottery ticket. First, Michel rings up the items on the register. Then, he has to turn to the completely separate card machine for the payment. After that, it's over to the lottery terminal. All the while, he's also trying to remember to check IDs and just eyeball if the chip rack is looking empty. It's a real juggling act for just one sale.
And keeping the shelves full, that's just as manual. There's no fancy digital inventory system here. It all starts with a glance. Just noticing a shelf looks a little bare. From there, it's all mental notes, trying to remember when the lottery order is due, and placing orders over the phone. The entire supply chain is basically running on one person's memory. And this, well, this is the grand finale at the end of every single day. This diagram shows the paper chase that's required just to balance the books. Michel has to literally take the stack of credit card slips, compare it to the cash register's final report, the Z report, and pray that everything matches up. It's a super fragile process, held together by tiny bits of paper. Now, this way of working, it isn't just old school. It creates real, tangible problems that drain time, money, and frankly, a lot of energy. We've boiled it all down to 6 key business headaches. First up, and this is a big one, just a massive amount of wasted time. We're talking hours every single day, and even more at the end of the month, spent just matching slips of paper, adding up columns of numbers, and getting reports ready for the accountant. This is manual work that an integrated system could do in like 5 seconds.
Second, you have all this incredibly valuable business information, what's selling well, what's not, what needs to be ordered, and it is completely trapped on paper. It's basically in paper prison. It is impossible for Michel to get a quick, real-time snapshot of how his business is actually doing. The data is there, he just can't get to it.
And third, the system costs real money. When you're ordering based on what you think you remember, it's easy to run out of a popular item and just lose sales. Or you might miscalculate and order way too much. Not to mention, all those hours spent doing paperwork are hours you're not spending with customers or thinking about how to grow the business. Number 4 is a huge one, a serious lack of control. When the numbers don't add up at the end of the day, trying to find the mistake is an absolute nightmare because there's no real audit trail. This even applies to things like legally required age checks. It's just a habit, with no documented proof it ever happened.
Fifth, the whole system is just fundamentally inefficient. Think about it. The same information from a single sale gets handled multiple times, once at the register, again on the card slip, and then again when you're counting everything at the end of the day. It is redundant work, plain and simple.
And finally, all of these problems behind the scenes, eventually they spill over and affect the customer. That checkout juggle we talked about, it can really slow things down, especially when there's a line. It just creates friction where there really shouldn't be any. So, after walking through all that chaos, you can probably guess where this is headed, right?
It is time to leave the manual maze behind and bring in a simple, modern solution for what is, underneath it all, a pretty complex problem.
And really, who could say it better than the owner himself? Michel's goal was perfectly clear. He just said, less paper, less headache. The solution wasn't about adding a bunch of complicated tech, it was about removing the friction and just making his job simpler.
Okay, let's get to the good part. Let's see what this new world actually looks like for the store. We're going to do a direct before and after comparison, showing the impact of finally getting those 3 lonely machines to talk to each other in one smart system.
So let's start with inventory. Before, it was pure guesswork, literally ordering by eye. Now, with an integrated system, every single sale automatically updates the stock count. The system can send an alert when something's running low, and it can even use past sales data to help predict how much to order. It's a total shift from relying on memory to making data-driven decisions.
And what about that end-of-day paper chase, that accounting nightmare? Poof, it's gone. What used to take ages of manual work now happens with a single click. The system just pulls all the totals together, sales, cards, lottery, compares them instantly, and generates a perfect digital Z report with a complete audit trail.
And just look at this. This is the new process in action. It's so clean. Compare this simple 4-step digital workflow to that messy paper chase diagram from before. It's night and day. The system does all the hard work, and Michel's job is just to review anything it flags. It's a complete transformation from manual labor to strategic oversight.
So, why does the story of one little corner store in one neighborhood actually matter? Well, because Michel's tale of 3 machines, it's not unique at all. It's really the story of millions of small businesses out there, the backbone of our communities, who are all grappling with the hidden costs of inefficiency in a world that is digitizing faster and faster around them.
And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As technology continues to smooth out every process, making everything more efficient, more controlled, less manual, what happens to the character of these beloved neighborhood spots? Can the charming, maybe slightly imperfect corner store of our memory even survive in a perfectly optimized future? That's definitely something to chew on.